Why don't we do a little WBC?
I'd love to.
Because I know how much it gets you jazzed up.
I wouldn't be here without the WBC. It's as simple as that.
Tell the story. Tell
Okay.
the story tight, and then bring it into some of the new teams that are going to be in the dance here in a little bit.
Real quick, I'll give you the quick version. 2006, I was a pharmaceutical rep pitching for a local baseball team in Melbourne, Australia. I was seen by the then Australian head coach throwing quite well. He invited me to come down and pitch and play first base for the Victorian team. I closed an inning. I hit 96 on the radar gun. I got invited to try out for the World Baseball Classic team, the inaugural one. I made the team, pitched against Venezuela. Next day, I get offered a contract to come and pitch with the Braves. I do that, and now 16, 17, 18 years later, I'm still here talking about baseball. So without the WBC, I would not have got the exposure that I needed to be able to come back and pitch in the big leagues and meet every one of you guys. It's been wonderful. Now, that leads me to the two teams that have just qualified through the new European qualifications, Great Britain and the Czech Republic. Two teams that have never made it to the actual World Baseball Classic before. So when you talk about a whole new level of, okay, the qualifiers are still the WBC, but you don't get the proper uniforms. You stay in a little bit lesser hotels. Right. When you come to the proper WBC, it's Major League Baseball sanctioned, and it's the big leagues. So what an amazing opportunity for two baseball nations that are coming up to get a chance to play against the best in the world. And I think it's just an expansion of this game across the world is never a bad thing. And the more teams, the more exposure we can get. I was in the Czech Republic, as you guys are well aware, and I noticed that they were doing some really cool things over there. So this isn't a shock to me to see them there.
It's awesome. It's incredible. Baseball in Europe, you know better than I do, and my friend Jimmy, because cricket, there's a lot of parallels, and it's a sport that's been there for a while, and like most things in life, I think they can live in unison together, and I think we're almost, call me dumb, a lot of people do, and that's fine. Like, it feels like if I had to project a sports story in the next 10 years, like a cricketer that plays baseball, like I don't know if, because we've had some Formula One, like NASCAR crossover. I know that's not a direct comparison. We've seen rugby players give it a go in the NFL. We messed around with some cricket dudes playing blitzball, and they had zero problems. If anything, they were more tuned in than baseball players because, well, blitzball's bat to ball, and that's kind of all they were about. But if baseball starts going in Europe, like, we have almost the whole world. Like, I know there's things popping up in Africa. Like, it can, I think soccer will always be the true global sport.
For sure.
Football or basketball has done a good job. Baseball can kind of get on their heels a little bit.
Well, there's never going to be a lack of talent from any one of those countries. It's just where that talent, it's like in Australia. Major League Baseball or baseball in general probably doesn't get the best athlete pool to choose from because their athletes, the best athletes in Australia, gravitate towards the popular sports, whether it be Australian rules football, cricket, rugby, basketball, soccer. We're probably down a little bit on the list. If we can raise the popularity across the world and more kids in that talent pool want to start playing baseball instead of the other sports, then we look at a global game. That's the key.
Yeah. That's congrats to the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And Great Britain.
Great Britain.
Right?
Yeah.
How about that?
The Queen would have loved it. I'm telling you, the Queen would have loved it.
I know. Maybe they go on a run.
Maybe.
Get a Queen patch on the jersey, something like that.
Could you imagine? Just a crown? Just crown tattoos all up and down the shins of those players.
How are the any Aussie boys we should be looking out for? I don't want to put you too much on the spot because I know you could also name probably 30 guys. I know
I could definitely name 30 guys. And look, I'm waiting for this is not a call out, but I'm
right.
hoping that Liam Hendricks commits soon. We saw Jazz Chisholm commit to the Great Britain team. So I want to see Liam commit to the Aussie team, but there's a couple of young guys, Robbie Glendenning, Aaron Whitefield. You know, there's a ton of guys that are coming through. Curtis Mead would have been on the team, I would assume, but we'll have to see how his elbow's doing. He's with the Rays and Raken. So look, there's a lot of guys, a lot of veteran guys that are probably going to come back and play too. So if we can put a team together that we're always going to grind out games. That's just what we do. We're going to pitch and we're going to grind out games.
How's that? Were you alluding to something else at the end? Is the shoulder feeling good?
It feels great, but I've said this multiple times. My BP is locked in, and I feel like it would be similar if I jumped on to try and get competitive.
Yeah,
not a lot of movement going on.
Getting the plate, finding the plate,
no problem.
Maybe too much.
I could be the mop-up guy that comes in and covers some innings in the blowout game.
Yes.
That's about all I got left in me.
Oh, player coach? Are you kidding me? Jazz Chisholm, I don't know if you can bet on this at DraftKings or wherever. That Jazz Chisholm Great Britain jersey, that might show up in the John Boy Media office. That might show up on a lot of college campuses. That might show up at a lot of baseball stadiums. That is going to be
legit.
Yeah, and that Queen Crown we talked about.
Right. Look, if it shows up, we don't need royalties. Just take it as a gift.
just put a link in the description to Talkin' Baseball and Muggsy, and we'll be good.